So, one of the storylines, or should I say, the link of a storyline, commences with Monica Bard. Now, Monica, before she was a Quartermain, she was a Weber. And before she was married to Jeff, she had an affair with Rick Weber. And if you recall, in modern times, Rick Weber was married to Leslie. And Leslie is the mother of Laura. There was a lot of turbulent affairs. Monica had a lot of affairs with a lot of people. Her main love was always Rick, and she was always fighting against that pull that was going on between them. So there was a lot of affairs that she had. There was a lot of turbulent times with the storyline with her and Jeff and Rick throughout a lot of the time that Jeff was on the canvas. One of the things that I remember, probably the oldest storyline that really that links to modern times, is probably the one where Heather has an affair with Jeff. It was never something that was supposed to be a long-term relationship. It was more or less a comfort situation. And she got pregnant, and he wanted her to terminate the pregnancy so that he could get back together with Monica. Now, prior to him having the affair, he had an attempt suicide. And when he recovered from the situation, he wanted to reunify with Monica. So instead of terminating the pregnancy, Heather decides to carry the pregnancy full term, sells the baby on the black market. The baby is purchased by Phil and Diana Taylor, and they named the child PJ. PJ is actually Stephen Lars. He is the modern Steven Weber that you see. Have seen probably in the last, I would say, it's probably been about 10 years. It's probably the last time Stephen Lars, he was most recently on the show. So, how did Heather become a Weber? Well, eventually the marriage between Jeff and Monica dissolved. He got back into a relationship with Heather. Heather got pregnant again. She lost that child, and this created her a stronger fixation for her on getting her child back from Diana Taylor. So she concocted this plan and strategy that she was going to lace some iced tea with LSD. Diana would drink it. Diana would have go through this trippy phase, and it would make it easier for her to get the baby. Well, that didn't happen. Heather ended up drinking the LSD laced tea. How that happened is because, and I'll never forget this, little Stephen Lars was playing, and he spun the Lazy Susan, which rotated the tray, and Heather ended up drinking the LSD laced tea and going through her own trip. The original super couple, Luke and Laura, I remember prior to Luke coming to the show, coming to town, it was just this triangle, this young teen or late teen triangle between Bobby Spencer and Laura and Scotty Baldwin. Of course, Laura ended up winning out, but Laura was more or less at that time, she was like the it girl on General Hospital. She was young, she was beautiful, and she wore the fashionable clothes of that time, the designer jeans, and pretty much everyone that I knew in elementary school, we wanted the Gloria Vanderbilts, we wanted the Jordache jeans, we wanted the Sassoons, we wanted all of the designer clothes. And most of us were watching General Hospital. She was the fashion icon for us. So some of my favorite shipped couples or super couples was called back in the 80s and the 90s were Luke Laura, Frisco and Felicia, Jason and Keisha, Nicholas and Gia, and this is the Colton Scott and Marissa Ramirez versions of Nicholas and Gia. And then my most recent stint back from 2006 to roughly around 2015-16, I believe, was Scrubs, aka Robin and Patrick. Honorable mentions were Luke and Holly, Sunny, Brenda, Jax, which was pretty much kind of like a triangle where Brenda vacillated mostly between the two. She originally started a relationship with Sunny. Sunny had to marry Lily in order to remain in good terms and good faith with his underworld businesses, and it left Brenda, brokenhearted and disheveled, and she ended up starting a relationship with Jax. Later on, Lucky and Sam interest me quite a bit. I thought they had oodles of potential. And unfortunate thing is that Greg Vaughn was released from his contract, and just prior to that, they got back together, which set up the story for Jonathan Jackson to return to the role of Lucky. And let's go back earlier in the 90s, there was Tom Hardy, which was the son of Rachel Ames, aka Rachel Hardy, and Simone. This is the version that was played by David Wallace and Laura Ravelle. If you are not familiar with Laura Ravelle, she was the pretty girl in the Hello video who was blind in the art class. She was doing her sculpting and everything. It's the Hello video with Lionel Richie. I'll link it